It's a Sunday that will keep you busy and happy and smiling. We might just enlighten you with a bit of cricket yarn as well. The second ODI between India and Australia to be played in a city that's the jewel of the East Coast. Well, two jewels in the studio as well. Two World Cup champions, Zaheer Khan and Dinesh Karthik are here. It's going to be a busy cricket Sunday, gentlemen. Slightly different from cricket Sundays that were in your Sri Rampur days. Is it not?
Well, Sri Rampur days, every day was a Sunday, I would say.
Aye.
it's about finishing the school and playing. So that's the way one would keep oneself busy. So yeah, I mean Sundays or Mondays, it was always about when you're finding time to play some sport.
Every day is a cricket day in that age. For Dinesh Karthik as well, who's attended schools across the world in Kuwait, in Chennai, a couple of schools as well. But which I forgot the name, Chettinad Vidyashram. Did I get that right?
That's right. That's right.
How was that cricket Sunday like?
Very innocent. I think when you start playing the sport, it's only about fun. It's all about being with your friends, fighting a lot, and that's where your real friendships grow. And just like the millions of Indians who have all played street cricket, flag cricket, society cricket, school cricket, I've gone through the whole journey. And today, as we sit on another Sunday, we're discussing an international match. It's very different to what it used to be. The pressures are different. The whole situation is different. But you ask any cricketer who's played over a period of time, they'll always have great memories of how it started. And for me, at the age of 8, 9, just playing cricket was great. But the main reason for me playing cricket was the fact that I could miss school for a large part of it. So, that's how my journey started. And Sundays were anyway a holiday. So we ended up playing other games as well along with cricket. But I enjoyed playing cricket with a group of friends who, literally we grew together, played various age groups, and then they obviously diversified and moved on to other things. So it's a very fresh memory.
Well, I haven't had to miss school today because it's a Sunday. Tomorrow, of course, I'll have to at 7 in the morning. The second ODI is up. India 1-0 up in the series. India got a bit of a scare in Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium in the first ODI because Mitchell Starc was in the mood for a bit of a shocker for India until KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja got together for a 100-run partnership. Now, before this second ODI, there was a bit of a scare because of the rain. It's been raining since morning. I've been told it's nice and sunny now. Zach, does it affect, and how much does it affect the team's plans and preparation? Do you keep plan A, B, C ready in terms of your 11, in terms of what you want to do after winning the toss?
Not that much, I think. Those factors must be accounted for. Is what my feeling is right now. But one thing I can tell you, in Vizag, when the rain is around, is going to be one of the toughest day to play cricket in. There is no doubt about it. The pitch also might be a little sticky, is what I'm expecting. With the rain around, you've seen the humidity also goes up. It will be hotter than usual. These are the things I'm expecting from today's conditions. We'll have to wait and see. I think the captain winning the toss surely will be looking to bowl first because of these factors. The pitch will get easier and easier as the match will go along. So those factors in terms of your tactics will be certainly taken into consideration when you're charting your game plans.
Right, Australia have won the toss and they've chosen to bowl first. So India will be batting first on a wicket that's made with a black soil. Rohit Sharma comes back as well. I've been told there are a few cracks as well. Do you have to be a botanist to be a good cricketer, a smart cricketer? How do you understand things like soil and this puts too much pressure? It wasn't the same when you were playing cricket in your junior days.
Look, the amount of knowledge these days in reference to pitches and soil and moisture and dampness is a lot more than it used to be. I'm very sure when Zach started playing, there was not so much talk about pitch and dampness and, this is going to happen and that is going to happen. But with the advent of technology, like in all other stratas of society, I think technology has played a massive part in this as well. And, this black soil, red soil is a big conversation that happens because in other countries, they don't have the luxury of having two different soils. They'll at best have the same soil, but one will bounce more, one will probably, bounce less, these sort of things. In India, it's a very different, it just shows the beauty of a country as well. Down south, you get different types of pitches. In the west, you definitely get very different pitches. You go to east and north, it's very different. The soil reacts differently, even though it's just two different colors. It reacts differently in different, weather, different climatic conditions. And in Vizag, the black soil that is used actually gives more bounce than what you would find in a Delhi, even though the same soil is used. What's black soil? It's just got a lot more clay content in it. Red soil is very prevalent in the west. It's found in Nasik and these sort of areas. That's where they bring it from, the good soil. So the quality of black soil is consistent with they just play around with the amount of clay content. So with clay, the amount of water you put into the wicket, how much it holds on to it, these are the differences. But let's not get too technical about it. I don't think we are very good in that topic about soil. But for the moment,
like a true botanist.
Exactly. He even looks like a scientist.
So this pitch is a very good one for batting, but I completely agree with Zach. It's been under the pitch, under the covers for some time now. So there will definitely be something in it for the bowlers. And as I speak about it, it is true. There will be a lot in it for the bowlers, that's for sure. It's going to be a pitch which will aid fast bowling at the start. We saw it in Bombay. We are going to see it in Vizag as well.
9 of the 14 games at this venue have been won by teams chasing. So Australia clearly will hope that they get the advantage of the toss. Sensible call to field first after winning the toss?
That was expected.
Yeah.
Like I was mentioning earlier, today's day in terms of planning, both the teams will be looking at using the conditions, seeing what is on offer right now, and surely your inclination towards bowling first is going to be the call which any captain would have taken, looking at the conditions around. You still have to go out there and execute your plans. From Australia's point of view, that over dependence on Mitchell Starc is something which they have to be careful of. The other bowlers need to step up. If you won the toss and the conditions on offer, like how we are anticipating, I think you need to just extract those conditions to the fullest. And how you're going to do that, what kind of plans you're going to have for that, is something which we have to wait and see. From India's point of view, I think they will take a lesson from the previous game for sure. You will see a cautious approach. You will not see like a dominance from the word go. They would want to negate the fact that how Mitchell Starc initiated that innings for Australia's defense and how he created that impact up top. So you'll have to avoid that. And to avoid that, what are your options? How you can counter that is something will be the discussion in the Indian camp.
Rohit Sharma is back after, doing his duties as a husband. He was attending his brother-in-law's wedding. Well done, Rohit. That's a smart thing to do. Another change. Shardul goes out and Akshar Patel comes in. And that means India going in with 3 spinners plus Shami and Siraj. Hardik will bowl as well like he did the last time. 3 spinners. DK, how surprised are you?
A little surprised because generally in Vizag, the boundary dimensions give a feeling like it's hard for spinners to bowl. Though we haven't looked at the wicket. I'm assuming they've seen a little bit of moisture, so they'd hoped if they'd bowled first, they could use the spinner. And the fact that in the second innings, if the wicket is going to slow down and it gets slightly drier, it might aid spinners. So I think it could be a very interesting move. And generally, in the recent past, they've played Washington Sundar. Now, they have gone for Akshar Patel. It tells you that their top order from Australia, if you take it, Mitchell Marsh, Steven Smith and Marnus Labuschagne, all right-handers. So obviously Akshar Patel will be a better matchup to the right-handers. So very understandable with the option that they've chosen for.
Australia, on the other hand, have replaced Maxwell, who's got a bit of a sore thigh, I've been told. Some kind of injury, and Maxwell goes out. In comes right-arm pace bowler Nathan Ellis. Alex Carey is back. He hasn't gone home. That wasn't confirmed news. So Alex Carey comes back in for Joss Inglis. The exact opposite approach of India.
Yeah, I think, when you look at the two lineups before the start of play and the changes we were expecting, has not gone that way. Some changes are forced changes, like Maxwell being injured. You don't have option there. Warner may not be completely fit. And Mitchell Marsh having scored runs, that made that call a bit easier for the Australian camp. But on the whole, yeah, a bit surprising changes for sure. We'll have to wait and see what conditions are on offer, and once the game starts, so maybe certain changes are made with keeping conditions in mind. And that's something which we'll have to wait and see which captain was spot on in terms of reading those conditions. But like I was saying, that the over dependence on Mitchell Starc was evident. So that Nathan Ellis call is basically keeping that in mind. You need a wicket taking bowler who can create that impact, and I think Nathan Ellis was the choice made, taking advantage of the forced change, because Australia was batting deep anyways. Yep. You have proper 8 batters. With Maxwell gone now, you'll have 7. But they felt the need of strengthening that bowling attack a bit more. Despite
scoring only 188 in that first ODI. But Rohit Sharma comes back to a ground that he has really beautiful memories of. 159 the last time for him, the last time India played here. Do players, that was in 2019, do players give these things too much weightage? It's a cycle, it's an intangible thing, isn't it? This is where I do well.
Has to be. It definitely works on players' minds. There is no doubt about it. The ground where you've taken wickets, the pitch where you've scored runs, the whole thing really plays a part, and that's why they say that it's sometimes beyond the skill as well. Sometimes you are in a bad form. Suddenly you go to the ground which you scored runs in. You kind of take inspiration from that. You go in that zone. Something from there. It just kind of gets you in that mode. So a lot of weightage has to be given for this. Rohit Sharma has scored runs pretty much everywhere, but the fact that he's starting from here and has scored runs in this particular venue will surely add for that. It works with every player.
It's been a good year for Rohit Sharma. Going to a familiar happy ground helped KL Rahul in the first ODI. These are his numbers in 2023, and he will be salivating, DK, at the prospect of batting on this pitch, which is, we've been told, full of runs.
He was born in Vizag. He's got good memories associated with Vizag. The first IPL team he played for was from Sunrise, the then Deccan Chargers, was Hyderabad. They played a few games in Vizag. So he's got great memories of Vizag. It's a ground that he likes batting in. As we said, wherever there is bounce, Rohit Sharma will enjoy batting on those pitches because he's a great back foot player, arguably one of the best batters of the short ball in world cricket right now. So Vizag is a venue which suits him very well. Slightly shorter boundaries on the sides, good bounce. So he'll fancy himself to get runs. The last time he played, he got a massive 100 against the West Indies. There is no reason why he can't do it. And Virat and Rohit consistently have been two of the top run getters for India against Australia. So he'll be going into this game with a lot of confidence, and he will require plenty of it for the rest of the year because there are some big games coming up.
Right, bring out the pull shot, Rohit. Bring out the pull shot. That's always a pretty sight when Rohit Sharma just pulls a big heavy ball to the onside. The decision to play Akshar Patel, Zach, is it more about left-right combination, or is it about adding an extra spinner? Because he batted really well in the Test series, where he hardly bowled.
Couple of the factors. I think yes, he contributes with the bat as well. So that top order being questioned in the first game must have played on the decision makers for this playing 11 for sure. And another thing is predominance of right-handers in that Australian batting lineup. So that also gives you that tactical advantage to use the left-arm spinner. And if there is some help on offer, Akshar we've seen can really make use of the conditions like Ravindra Jadeja we've seen. So you get that advantage of strengthening your batting balance as well, and tactically using that against the right-handers.
Shubman Gill has been a great story as well this year. Again, as I said in the last show, 2 Test hundreds, a double hundred in ODI cricket as well as 100 in T20 cricket. This is his time when he has to just nail his spot right up top. He's ensuring that India don't miss Shikhar Dhawan.
I'm surprised you're saying he has to nail his spot. You get the feeling he has nailed it in all the formats. He's got more than 1,000 runs this year across formats. That's phenomenal. To get a double 100 in ODI cricket, 100 in T20 cricket, 100 in Test cricket, and to get 2-3 of them is phenomenal. He's a young boy. He's only 22, 23. He's under immense pressure. Went to New Zealand, got runs there, but then decided to rest him in Bangladesh, where Ishan Kishan goes on to get a double 100. So walking into the first series at the start of the year, it was massive pressure for him because Ishan Kishan had got a double 100 in the opportunity that he got. Poor kid, he couldn't get an opportunity. Shubman Gill got, and he again went on to score a double 100 against New Zealand, followed it up with another 100. So the pressure is what is different to what it was a few years ago. I think the competition for spots is the maximum in the Indian team right now, and that's purely because of the amount of talent that Team India possesses across the board. Thanks to a tournament like IPL, new stars keep coming in consistently at the end of it, and you can see, earlier probably to a lot of the players the chances could be a little more, but these days they are under scrutiny, constantly under pressure in many ways to perform whenever they get an opportunity. Like a Sanju Samson, he's actually, if you take his stats in the recent past, he's done phenomenally well in ODI cricket. He's actually done really well, but it's hard to find a place for him, So again, Surya Kumar Yadav, who has had a terrific T20 record in the recent past, in ODI cricket, he hasn't gone exactly very good compared to what he's done in T20. So he'll also be under pressure. And Shubman Gill is a great case study of how to make sure you don't lose out on an opportunity. I think every time he's gone into the field, given an opportunity to bat, he's played the way he wants to play, which is very aggressive. A lot of the times taking on the bowlers, hasn't been afraid to do that. And the beauty is he's been successful doing that as well.
Barring Shreyas Iyer and Jasprit Bumrah, is this the kind of squad that India will go in with at the World Cup largely?
Well, largely, pretty much everyone is in contention. That's the way it should be looked at. It's about the importance has to be given to the performers and performances and consistent performances, and that's something as a trend, if you said, and you've seen it with Shubman Gill. That's the right example. It's about Shubman Gill has created that niche for himself right now. It's not that he was the first choice opener for tests. He made it count. He made his opportunities count. You've seen with Ishan Kishan scoring that double 100 and then Shubman Gill getting an opportunity, which adds responsibility on you as well. And when you deliver, then that really gives you that confidence and confidence for the team management also to take certain decisions in certain way. But then it's up to the player to achieve that consistency. So I think, when you're looking at World Cup, these kind of methods and process, if you're following, that giving importance to the performance and performers, then and consistency as well. Then you will get to a stage where everyone there is there pushing hard, and the guys who are in line, they are pushing them harder. So that's the way that you will see that bar being raised, that consistency in performance has been achieved, and that's where actually you will see a World Cup win as well. So it's about just having the skeleton in place.
Yep.
That okay, this is the style of cricket which we're going to be playing. This is the brand of cricket we want to carry on the field, and then everyone just follows that suit, and consistency is rewarded.
Right, and it's a good problem to have with so many options at the disposal of Rahul Dravid and the selectors. The chairman is yet to come in, but there are a lot of options available now. Jasprit Bumrah's injury is being talked about everywhere. Clearly, he has been India's spearhead, but in the eventuality that he is not available for the World Cup, and we all hope he is, but if he isn't, there are options available. What do you make of this bowling group without Jasprit Bumrah?
Well, we've seen what Jasprit Bumrah can do in a white ball format, right? Like he's been in top 3, top 5 bowlers consistently throughout his most of his career. So that's the impact which he creates. Now it's always going to be very tough to replace someone like Bumrah, right? But like how as saying, it's about forming that skeleton, just kind of freezing on the processes, freezing on how you're going to use your fast bowlers, and then someone has to step in and take that responsibility, which so far I've seen that all the bowlers have been doing brilliantly, and that's why you've been able to consistently win matches. So this again shows the strength and the depth which Indian team has in its talent pool, and that's going to be very important. So yes, Bumrah will definitely be missed, but whether you are finding a way of creating that impact, the answer is yes. I think so far Indian team has been able to create that, and the bowlers have been stepping up to the occasion to make it happen for the Indian team.
We have to talk about Mohammad Shami. He's been quite a story as well. He is an absolute bomb with red ball cricket. 63 test matches in his long career. But look at the number of ODIs, DK. 87. This seems like a bit of a travesty. Has Indian cricket underutilized this sensational bowler? In white ball cricket, that is.
It's been yes and no. The answer should be, and I say that because consistently he's been part of World Cup teams. So almost in every big event, he has been the go-to guy. Even if they've not picked him first up, they've again gone back to moment an injury occurs, Shami is the one who comes in. The fact that he's been in and out is a story in itself. He's not been consistent. And a great example would be how Umesh Yadav has been in Test cricket. Whenever he plays, he makes a mark. But if you look at his career, he's not played so much. He's played sporadically compared to the others. Why? Because when given the opportunity, they haven't been consistent. It's a clear case cut of a player getting an opportunity, grabbing it at the first time. But when they play consistently, somewhere down the line, they haven't been as consistent as they could have been. Also, we need to understand, going back to the previous question, Bumrah, yes, I think India will in many ways look to find somebody who can replace him, but it's impossible to replace Bumrah. And we are talking about the moment due comes, the kind of skill sets that he has got to control the back end when the dew is there, and that's a big factor in the World Cup as we go in at that point of time. Not many have the Yorker that he has, and as a batter who's played against him, his Yorker, what makes it so special is his release point is slightly ahead of others, so it's very difficult to pick it and you're that bit late on the ball. And that is a big difference between Mohammad Shami and a Bumrah. You give both of them similar conditions with a slightly wet ball and dew, you will know how much Bumrah is in terms of a skill bowling at the death. New ball, maybe Shami will definitely be somebody who can get you wickets, conditions like what we saw in Bombay. If there's a little bit of sea movement, he will be second to no one in this world. But if the wicket is very flat and there's a bit of dew, that's when the skill of a Bumrah, you could just feel as a player when he's bowling to a top batsman, the chances of getting hit, he could still get hit, but the chances are minimal. Whereas with others, in many ways, you're hoping that if they give a single or two, it's a massive win. You will know that feeling when you're part of, in the ground watching a Bumrah bowl, and I've seen it consistently. You know, one hand Bumrah is bowling, the kind of impact the bowler, the fielding team has, and then you move on to another bowler who is a good bowler by all means, but give that slightly wet ball in slightly damp conditions. It is a different story, boss, altogether.
The best doctors in the world need to come together and somehow get Jasprit Bumrah ready for the World Cup. But on Shami, it's a sight, isn't it, to watch Mohammad Shami bowl with that upright seam, looks even prettier on a slow motion. What kind of skill does it take to be able to do that consistently? We've hardly ever seen a scramble seam when Shami is bowling. And just being able to land the ball on the seam, what kind of skill and practice does it take?
It's a very rare skill which he possesses.
Yep.
You can practice a lot, but it comes naturally with him. I think it's something which has come naturally to him. It's a treat to watch him release that cricket ball and hits it on the seam, extracts that movement of the pitch, and consistently hits that length. It makes it that much easier for you as a bowler to achieve that consistency which Shami has been able to display. And that has been his strength. Every time you talk about Shami, you talk about the release, you talk about the seam position, and his numbers have been going up and up because as he's playing more and more, as he's getting the hang of it, and these numbers, what you're talking about of white ball, he's actually been up and down with white ball. If you look at the graph of his career, with the red ball, he's always been very consistent, but with the white ball, his journey has been about understanding his own bowling and finding those right set of passages of play, where he can make the maximum impact. And it has been the journey of team management also understanding. It has been the journey of Bhuvi and Bumrah starting the new ball. Then you felt that, okay, Shami is not getting that new ball. Yeah. How best can we use him? And the impact was going down a bit when he was starting the bowling after 10 overs. And then you are finding a bowler who can do that kind of a role, who doesn't rely on hitting the deck hard kind of a bowler, right? Shami is more of a release bowler, looks to get the ball up. So those are the things which have been discussed, and that's why you're seeing these kind of numbers. Yeah. But the point is, Shami at this stage have figured it exactly what works for him. And he has been creating that impact consistently, and that's why he should be in the main scheme of things. Doesn't matter which format Indian team is playing. Also, the workload management is something is another story which comes into play, and then that only Shami can best answer that.
So he's one of the few bowlers who's playing all three formats along with Siraj. He plays Test, ODI and T20, and we play a lot of cricket. Yeah. Throw in an IPL in between that's a lot of cricket. So for him just to stay fit is the biggest challenge. As you look at this Indian team, the one thing that's very glaring, what are your death bowling options? Now that is where Bumrah is special. Who are your death bowlers who have been consistent in the recent past? Siraj has been good, steady. Mohammad Shami has been phenomenal. The new ball, you can't say so much with the old ball. Hardik again, he's somebody who is bowling, but he's not bowled those 10 over spells consistently. Is he going to be your death bowler? The one glaring thing about this Indian team right now is the fact that in death bowling is what they're trying to figure out. Who is going to be my last 5-6 over bowlers? Now that is the biggest question that India have to answer.
And this question only comes into play in one scenario. When the team has gotten off to a good start, your middle overs have not resulted in wickets. That's where the death bowling is under pressure. And so far, Indian team has been consistent in making that play early, and that should be one of the strategies. So when you are approaching the World Cup and you're talking about absence of Bumrah, and what should be your strategy? Your strategy has to be that you have to make the play at the top. You have that intent, you go in with that kind of field sets, you go in with that kind of mindset, you create those kind of processes which you are creating that impact in the first 35 overs. If you're able to do that, then that minus point which you have, of your bowlers have not been challenged or pushed to the wall in those last 10 overs as yet. And suddenly in that crucial game of the World Cup, you're going in that with that kind of a thing. How are you going to react to that? Is something which you have to be prepared for, and that's something which we should judge this bowling attack on. When the going is getting tougher in the back end, how are you going to plan?
Arshdeep Singh has been auditioning for that death bowler role as well. We will talk about it a little later during the day, maybe in the mid-show. But Steve Smith has won the toss as captain. He's won the toss, and Australia have decided to bowl first. Now, we've got a question on Steve Smith on hashtag Ask Cricbuzz Live. It comes in from a very passionate Bengali, Obin. I've been told to pronounce that name, Obin Chakraborty. Obin, thank you so much. I hope that I got that pronunciation right. Should Steve Smith take over as full-time captain? He won in Indore, drew in Ahmedabad, nearly won the first ODI. Given India is where they play the World Cup, he is getting the right experience too. Now, before I get an answer from Zach and DK, we've got a couple of comments on the same from two well-known names. Former Australia fast bowler Mitchell Johnson has weighed in as well. Let's see what he's got to say on Steve Smith and this whole captaincy conundrum that Australia face. His acumen should serve as a reminder of what a valuable asset his cricket brain is to the Australian team. From Mitchell Johnson, let's go across to Ravi Shastri, former India coach. This is what he's had to say. Whenever I see him captain the side, he's been a different batter, a better batter. The responsibility of captaincy seems to bring that different kind of mindset. He's one of those players who thrives on the extra workload of leading the side. Your thoughts?
Copy paste. He's been a very good captain, and he's not captain for not his captaincy reasons, right? So so that's something which one has to take into consideration. There was never a debate, as far as I remember, where you're talking about, oh, Steve Smith's captaincy is questioned, or he's not really been proactive. That has been his strength. He goes with the game. He's got solid cricketing brain, which ticks all the time. So he's got the right. He's a natural leader. He's got that natural acumen to sense the game, the pulse of the game, and then go with it. The reasons that he's not been captain for a while now is something different, which the cricket board and the administrative team of Australian cricket needs to figure out, right? Whether you want to go in that direction or you want to change your thought process and bring him back. Certainly, there is a bit of a thought around giving him that kind of a responsibility with making him stand-in captain because he's the best. And whether the impact you want long term or what kind of repercussions you're going to have in terms of overall culture which you want to develop or thought process which you have in mind with regard to Australia cricket future, that's a separate debate. So I think Steve Smith, the captain, there's never a debate.
But if that transition has to happen, it's got to happen now when there is enough time left for the World Cup. You can't be doing it in July, August, and September is when Australia come back to India for another 3-match series. So if that transition has to happen, it's got to happen now.
No, I think this discussion about who is going to be the captain is only happening in Cricbuzz. I think in Australian cricket, they are very sure. Pat Cummins is the captain. Stephen Smith is the vice captain. There is no doubt about it. I think we got to understand the whole context of cricket in Australia. They've gone through a bit of a turmoil with what happened in South Africa. They're trying to re-establish themselves as a cricket board. They're trying to bring more spectators into what is being termed as a big sport for Australia. They have competition from Aussie rules as well. So they want to put cricket in a place where they see a lot of heroes, the young superstars. Young boys and girls are watching the cricketers and feel like they're superstars. Now, with what had happened, they had actually hit a road bump, so to say, but things have moved on from there. Now, between Stephen Smith and Pat Cummins, without doubt, Stephen Smith is the better tactical captain. You could see in the test matches that he led, he was ahead of the game, he was ahead of the curve, making the right changes. But what Pat Cummins brings to the table is an overall persona, which is what Zach was talking about. What they want to do, post that, the image that they want to create, and Pat Cummins suits that image. When there was a big crisis between whether Justin Langer had to move on and they brought in a new coach, I think Pat Cummins handled that situation really well. Now, that's the sign of a leader. We need a leader when we're talking about leading a country, and I think Pat Cummins is a leader. Stephen Smith himself agrees that Pat Cummins is the right man to do the job. He said it on in one of the press conferences saying, Pat Cummins is the captain of this team. I'm just here as a stand-in and I'm happy to be doing this. He is without a doubt, the best leader that Australia has, Pat Cummins. He's got the respect of his peers and his teammates, and most importantly, the young kids in Australia look up to Pat Cummins and the rest of them as heroes, and that's where you want Australian cricket to be so that they can keep moving forward in the right direction.
Yes, that Steve Smith question came in from Obin Chakraborty, one of our regular viewers. So thank you, Obin, and I hope you got a very detailed answer from Zach and DK. The right man for Australia, Pat Cummins, and the right man to ask tricky questions is Mr. Joy Bhattacharya. One of our very own Cricbuzz experts has sent in this question, relatively easier as compared to the first ODI question. This is Joy Factor for you. What specifically connects MS Dhoni in Jaipur, Saurav Ganguly in Taunton, and Virat Kohli in Mirpur? I saw half a smile on Zaheer Khan's face, but we will not reveal the answer just yet. We'll try and reveal the answer maybe in the mid-show, maybe in the post-show. We'll find out. But before I say goodbye to our experts, no prediction, because you can't predict what's going to happen in this sport. How about a guessing game? First innings, how much are India scoring? Rohit back with Shubman, right up top.
I have my own theory about prediction game. You know that, right?
Go on.
I've said 330 as a number in the first match, so I'm going to stick
to 330. Yeah. All right, DK.
I was just going to say 330. So I'll bring it down. I'll say 315.
Okay, 330, 315. I'm going to say Rohit Sharma 120. India go past 350. बोलने में क्या जाता है? We'll be back with Cricbuzz live at the halfway mark after India done troubling Australia. We'll see how that Stark versus Rohit and Stark versus Gill contest goes. It should be a pretty good day. I hope the rain stays away. We don't want a stop-start kind of one-day game. India 1-0 up, looking to seal the deal. We'll be back at the halfway mark.